Core nice and tight. Let me just stab you in the sides.
Oh yeah.
What's going on, guys? Sam Brown from elitefts. Jumping in today with a cool video that I really am excited to share with you. We're gonna be going over the pull-up. We're gonna be going over why it's important. We're gonna be going over how it's gonna be benefiting your training. And we're gonna even jump into how you should be doing it. There's a lot to be said about the pull-up, and it's not as simple as you think it is. So what we'll do today, we'll get over to the bar and we'll jump into how to implement a pull-up into your program and even how to do it. Guys, when we're dealing with a pull-up, obviously it seems like a very basic exercise, and it can be, but there's a lot of things going on with a pull-up that I think you guys need to be aware of. First and foremost, if you can do a pull-up correctly, you're showing a lot of shoulder blade capacity. And what that essentially means is that you have an awareness of how to mobilize and utilize your shoulder blades better than someone who can't do a pull-up. So what I'm gonna have Alex do, jump on over here. Let's just demo what a pull-up looks like. Don't go too crazy with it. I know you personally know how to do it. So guys, when we're in a position with the pull-up, what we wanna do is it always starts with the grip. The closer your hands come in, the harder it's gonna be on your shoulders. So for example, with Alex here, you're standing on the box so you can relax. What I want you to do is grip the bar in nice and close, just about in line with your shoulders. If you were to do a pull-up from there, it would probably be very uncomfortable because that's in line with his AC joints. What I like to do is start to come out a little bit, so come out just a little bit wider. Perfect. What that's gonna do is that's gonna allow more of an activation in your lats, okay? So from this position, what we wanna do is Alex just show us a pull-up. Just one quick pull-up. Good. Give us one more. Perfect, rest. Excellent. So Alex is doing a pretty good job here. But a couple things I want you guys to focus in on is what he's gonna be doing with his elbows, which correlates into his shoulder blades themselves. So if you actually wanna come up here close, we'll jump up onto the bar. So as you can see here, shoulder blades. Shoulder blades are sitting up right up here. So what I want him to do, go into a dead hang and watch what happens. Good. Shoulder blades upwardly rotate. That's really, really good. So in order for us to unlock the power in our lats, we need to make sure that we are downwardly rotating those shoulder blades. Good. If you notice, he shrugs. He almost does an anti-shrug. So if this is a shrug, he does an anti-shrug. And where do you feel that?
Right in my lats.
Right in your lats. So that's good. Relax for a second. See, the biggest thing with lats is if that shoulder blade isn't able to move correctly, you're not going to be able to utilize all the fibers in that lat. All right? So how do we do that? How do we get that activation in that shoulder blade? Very simple trick. And I know you guys will definitely benefit from this. Grab the bar. What I want you to think about is if you notice his elbows pointing out to the side when he starts, I want you to think about rotating your elbows to the front of the room. So go to a dead hang, rotate those elbows to the front of the room, boom. He gets that activation in his upper back and those scaps start to rotate downward, which is perfect. So rest for a second. So essentially what I want you to do, we'll put it all together here. Starts with that grip, make sure it's outside that shoulder width as you're starting to progress with these. It doesn't have to be super wide, just outside shoulder width. We'll start with that dead hang, get that good grip on the bar. Nice and tight. Rotate those elbows to the front of the room, squeeze yourself up to the bar. Boom, perfect. And what you'll notice is that you're gonna be getting a lot more lat activation out of your pull-ups. I know a lot of people get a ton of bicep pumps out of their pull-ups, or they're just feeling it in their shoulders. Really focusing on that elbow trick is gonna get a ton out of your lats. Another quick tip for the pull-up that I want you to think about is if anybody has ever dealt with children, when a toddler doesn't want to get picked up, what do? They just go dead weight and they feel like 1,000 pounds. When you're doing your pull-ups, think about that when you're setting up. The tighter your body is, the easier it is to be able to pull up and to transfer that force from the bar through your body. So Alex, now let's show them what it would be like if you kept your entire body loose. So think nice and loose. Oh, that's just hideous. That looks awful. So the idea is you want to squeeze everything, core nice and tight, brace down hard, squeeze your ass, drive your feet together if you need to. Everything gets nice and tight, and what I'll show here, nice and tight, everything tight, 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 boom, locks it in. The rep moves much better, and he looks a lot better doing that as well. Fun fact about pull-ups, I learned this actually from a fellow Elite FTS member, Jordan Shallow. Shout out Jordan Shallow. The pull-up is a fantastic tool to assess if somebody's ready to deadlift. Really? Pull-ups, deadlifts? Why? Because if you can do 5 or 10 dead hang body weight pull-ups, what you're showcasing is that you're able to stabilize force through those shoulder blades and utilizing those lats to resist force, which is when you're grabbing the bar for a deadlift, that first position that you find yourself in. So if you're a coach, if you're a trainer, think about utilizing pull-ups as a prerequisite to allowing your clients or athletes to deadlift with a straight bar. Not everybody's going to be able to do a pull-up right away. So what do you do if you can't do a pull-up and you need to implement some sort of vertical pull or get some lat work into your training? Well, first and foremost, thankfully at Elite FTS, we have a ton of awesome pieces of equipment, and we can start implementing utilizing a lat pull down. What you can do is, Alex, I'll show you here. We'll use the funky bar because that's a fun one. You're going to be using the same mechanics you would with a regular pull-up, just from a pull down station. So the same idea, core nice and tight. Let me just stab you in the sides. Oh, yeah. Core nice and tight, but you're thinking about rotating those elbows to the front of the room, getting those scaps involved, getting those lats to fire, and then you're pulling it down all the way. Keeping the motion the exact same, but what you're doing is obviously you're just not doing a full pull-up. So I would say progress these to the point where you could hit more than your body weight. Hell, if you could do the whole stack, go right ahead. But the idea is you are training yourself and you're training those scaps to downwardly rotate and upwardly rotate. That's what you want to be focusing in on, is you understand where those lats are, where those scaps are, and understand how to pull them down and back and pull you into that good position. Awesome. So next up, what I'll do, yeah, we'll just come on over here. Fine. So another thing to think about with doing pull-ups is not a lot of people have the mobility necessary to get into that overhead position. I've worked with a lot of baseball players and rotational athletes, and a lot of them, to be fair, are not strong enough to get into that overhead position. So what we do is we work on allowing them to focus in and essentially find a position that works that scap, that range of motion of that scap, while not putting them in a precarious situation. Again, also power lifters, anybody that spends a lot of time benching may not have the overhead capacity to get into that full pull-up position. So this is what we do. So I'll have you take a knee, Alex, and grab, left knee in front and scooch back a little bit. So what we're doing is we're essentially teaching Alex how to utilize, and I call this finding your scaps or finding your lats, right? So the idea should be, we want to keep a stable core, a stable position, right? And we want that cable machine to pull that shoulder blade forward, right? So while you're in this position, what are you gonna feel? Almost like a little stretching on that lat, right? So as that shoulder blade comes forward, we're essentially putting that lat on a stretch. So now what I want him to do, I really want him to focus in on without, don't lose that core at all. You're gonna now squeeze that shoulder blade down and back and row that to your hip. Hey, look so strong, you broke the machine. So what we would do here is, this is a pretty baseline exercise to teach that protraction and retraction of that shoulder blade, which is essentially moving that shoulder blade forward and backward. Over the course of time, as he gets better and stronger with these, and he gets that movement down, what we do is, you can pull that back. Here we go, grab that. We'll slowly increase that range of motion, right? Or that angle of pull rather, not range of motion. So now, if you notice, he's pulling up a little bit higher. So now what he has to do, he has to bring that shoulder blade down even farther and allow it to come, yep, perfect, and allow that shoulder blade to come up and pull you in that direction. Again, as he progresses with these, do one more. You're gonna get a sick pump at the end of this.
Oh, yeah.
Just a one-sided pump. Good, we'll put that back. Now come here. And as you can see, he's getting closer and closer to a more vertical pull, right? So, for example, if he had some sort of shoulder impingement that hurts to get him up overhead, I would say this is a great way to start training that position and training that competency throughout that full range of motion in order to make sure that his shoulders stay healthy and he still gets a sick lat pump. Now, the real question is, where do you implement pull-ups in your program? And as always here at Elite FTS, it depends. It depends on what your goals are. It depends on what your ability to get into those positions is. So let's just say for someone that wants to just get stronger lats, I would, let's say they are a power lifter that just wants to get stronger lats and use it as an assistance exercise. I would throw them in towards the end of a workout if I was going lighter and going for more reps. But if you were looking to overload the pull-up, I would put it in as a potential secondary movement or a tertiary movement after your main work. The main focus is with a pull-up is your positioning, right? So it doesn't matter if you can do 100 pull-ups with crappy form. The goal is you are training yourself to get into a better position and fully utilize those lats to pull yourself up to that bar. So the idea is thinking about perfect reps as opposed to overall quantity of reps. Because you've seen these half-assed pull-ups of people just pumping out half reps, and that's essentially just a waste of time. The idea, again, should be to try to get into that full range of motion and to be able to pull yourself up utilizing those good mechanics. So again, throw them in as an accessory. You could even throw them in as a warm-up, again, to get that scapular humeral rhythm, it's called, the humerus and the scap working together to pull yourself into a good position. And what you're gonna find is the better you get at utilizing those scaps and getting those lats to fire, the more stable you're gonna be on your bench press, the more stable you're gonna be on your squat, the more stable you're gonna be to resist force in a deadlift. It's all very, very important. And the idea should be the more activation and more activity you get with those lats, getting through those full ranges of motion allows you to hold positions better, allows you to be more well aware of where your body is in space, and allows you to get stronger and throw more weight around. All right, guys, thank you very much for checking this video out. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned something. Be on the lookout for more awesome content from Elite FTS. Make sure you click the links below, like, subscribe, and as always, ring that bell.